Well, good evening, everybody. Time to get you caught up on what is going on weather-wise around the St. Louis area and what's to come. You know, we had a gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous day across the bi-state area on Tuesday. Wednesday looks like it's pretty decent as well. Maybe not quite as warm, but we'll give it a nudge here. We'll see if we can't get back into the mid, maybe some upper 50s south of St. Louis. It does look like we do have rain, though, with gusty showers coming our way as we push into Thursday. Okay, mainly during the morning hours on Thursday. Our timing on this is going to run from about 9 o'clock off to the northwest of St. Louis in the morning, and then exiting in our far southeast counties down towards Nashville, Illinois, Salem and Centralia and Mount Vernon around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So beyond that, then we get into the cold air coming back in for Friday, but it's back into the 50s again on Saturday. So we're doing this roller coaster thing, and then it looks like next week the Arctic air is going to be stuck up to our north. So ended up with a pretty decent day across the bi-state area. Now we have the clouds rolling in and thickening a little bit here tonight. There's actually a front that's dropping in from our north here, and it's going to stall out, we think, just north of St. Louis, kind of wash out and fade away. It really doesn't have much of an impact on our forecast for tomorrow, other than maybe our temperatures are a couple of degrees cooler, but that's about it. The front doesn't actually surge through here. The one we'll be watching that does is the one that comes in on Thursday. 57 was our top temperature here in St. Louis on Tuesday. That is above average, and it's also quite the return from the 23-degree low we had in the morning. Next 7 days, up, down temperatures. Friday is cold. We start in the lower 20s. Some of us may even be in the teens. You see that, how we drop it down here. Only 38 for the high on Friday. Then up again Saturday, down again some Sunday and Monday, and then we'll trend back up towards the middle of next week, which, of course, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. One opportunity for rain for us, and it looks like that is going to be on Thursday. Specifically with this front that's in this system, the energy that's now working in to the Pacific Northwest right now. Remember, there's a cold front here that's washing out close to us. The system that comes at us from the west, that's the one that will really amplify the pattern and get the Gulf involved here, drag some moisture up to the north. And this is really the first system we've had in a while, in the last week or so, that's really got some moisture with it since we had, you know, after Thanksgiving and the very beginning of the month where we had a little more potent storms, and they were wintry in nature. This one is definitely just a rainmaker for us. So that front's getting closer to us as we go into the overnight hours on Thursday, and along that front, we will track a line of showers. Now, there may be some embedded heavier showers in here, and the winds aloft are pretty strong. So we would anticipate some of those showers producing some brief gusty winds, and certainly once the main front goes through, there's actually a little secondary front back here that comes in, and that's with the colder air as we go into the evening hours, and we'll have some gusty winds with that. So let's pick it up at noon here on Wednesday in local here for what we're dealing with. Temperatures will be around 50, we think, at noon. So we do have some clouds, and you notice how the cloud cover really ramps up and thickens as we go into tomorrow night. There could be, as we head into the wee hours on Thursday, a smattering of mainly light showers south and southeast of St. Louis. But then we tend to pick up the action here as we head into the morning hours. So by 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock, that line of showers, which should be getting a little bit more intense and filling in a little bit more with some downpours, will be sliding in. There could be a couple of rumbles of thunder with this as it slides through the area, but we don't anticipate severe weather because it's not unstable enough. The ingredients aren't all there, but the cold air is coming in behind this system. And so temperatures will steadily drop Thursday evening with a brisk breeze. We're down into the lower 20s. Some of us maybe even in the upper teens north of St. Louis as we go into Friday morning. So that is going to be a cold start. Friday's chilly, and then Saturday and Sunday will warm up just a little bit once again before, you know, we drop things off a little bit there as we go into Sunday afternoon and Monday afternoon. Not as warm as Saturday. How about rainfall? The odds favor a quarter to a half an inch. You know, it'll vary because it's along that front, and there are going to be some downpours in there. So some of us may end up with a little more, some of us maybe with a little less, but we all could use the rain. It's still very dry. Even though the growing season's over, it's the middle of winter, well, the middle of December. You know, it's a winter time feel out there at times. Obviously, when it's in the mid-50s, not so much so, right? Saturday's like that. Saturday is the milder of the 2 weekend days, so if you have things to run around and get done, Saturday is your day. Both Saturday and Sunday. The reason we showed you the weekend forecast all across the bi-state region, Sunday is definitely cooler for sure, but it looks like there's very little in the way of travel impacts. This is the weekend before Christmas, so a lot of folks will be traveling. We don't anticipate travel impacts as we go into the weekend. We look at this upper level pattern though, and how it's evolving. There's our quick hit on Friday of the colder air. We go into the weekend and you see it's pretty much bottled up here to the north of us. And this takes us right into Christmas night. You know, after we get past Friday and then our near average temperatures for Sunday into Monday, if this pattern holds, and it looks like it very well could until the new year, we may have trouble going much below freezing even as we head into the middle and end of next week. So for Christmas Day, we're looking at temperatures around 60. Now we're being very conservative and only forecasting 60 for the high on Christmas Day. There's about a 25 to 30% chance, according to the European Ensemble, that we could have a temperature, a high of 70 plus degrees on Christmas Day. Now, 25 to 30% chance is actually pretty high for something that significant, but you got to look at it in perspective. Our record high for Christmas Day is only 71 degrees. So, that is a very rare kind of situation. Otherwise, you're looking at this roller coaster ride here until we steady out next week, and we really don't see the true Arctic air trying to push back into St. Louis for the rest of the year. Our computer models go out into the first few days of January, and while we may have some subtle cool downs, next week it's not impossible for the forecast to be adjusted a little bit, even the weekend after Christmas, to maybe have to lower the temperatures a little bit. Maybe a front slips in, but to get that true cold blast of Arctic air, that just doesn't look probable anytime soon.